Hey everybody, welcome to this week's video. My name is Iris, and in my videos I talk about self-love, relationships, and our expanding consciousness. And in this week's video, I want to answer a question from a viewer, and the question is, why do some people keep other people at arm's length? And this is a really good question, because there's a couple of different reasons that we would feel the need to want to keep somebody at arm's length. And one of the first reasons that we would do that is because of our attachment style. Sometimes with our attachment styles, we have never learned how to let people into our world, meaning that we learned to compartmentalize ourselves, our thoughts, our feelings, our emotions. We never learned how to let other people into our lives so that they might be able to help us in whatever situation that we're going through, whatever we're encountering. These are all characteristics of an avoidant attachment style, where that's exactly what we do when there is a lot of emotion and a lot of heaviness and a lot of wanting, let's say your partner wants to have a discussion about something, and they're very upset and very emotional about it. An avoidant strategy for deflecting that would be to just shut down, become distant, become aloof, not want to engage in the conversation. They can to a certain point, but then they shut down and it becomes too much for them. It's too heavy. An avoidant type of attachment style has learned, like I said, to compartmentalize, to not share of their thoughts, or not necessarily their thoughts, but definitely they don't share a lot of emotion. They don't give a lot of consideration to their feelings in terms of how they're sharing that with other people. They have learned to just keep that within themselves and to deal with it themselves, or to bury it and just not deal with it at all. And that has adverse um uh adverse effects on us as well if you have some avoidant characteristics. But so that is one reason that people keep you at arm's length, is because they have never learned how to extend themselves and to let other people into their inner world. That's one reason. Another reason is that you're uncertain about a situation. And, oftentimes, if you have, let's say, been out of a relationship, you've been single for a while, and let's say you're just getting prepared to venture out into the dating world and make yourself available. Oftentimes, as we go through the healing process of whatever trauma of the breakup that we experienced, we get to that place where we feel like we're ready to venture out and date, but we do that with such um not necessarily trepidation, but uncertainty. We're not sure. Am I really over that person? Do I really want to venture out this? There's a part of us that says, yeah, I want to get out there and I want to meet new people. But there might be a little bit of a resistance still to letting more of you be available to meeting somebody else. And maybe you made a connection, but you're still holding back because there's still that level of certainty, right? So part of it might be because you're still going through that a little bit of the healing, and you got to let go of those last little remnants still. And then the third thing of why we might keep people at arm's length is because we don't trust them. We don't trust them. We are still standing back, we're kind of observing what's going on in the situation. Who is this person really? Do I really want to become more fully invested in this situation? Do I fully trust them? So it's that it kind of falls in line with uncertainty, but really it is about trust. Can I trust that person to be there for me? Can I trust that person to say do what they said they were going to do, right? So somewhere along the way, there has been a breach of trust. And so somebody might keep themselves at arm's length when they are still feeling out, okay, what's really going on here? Can I trust that person? Do I trust myself? Am I going to choose me over a situation, a person, whatever it happens to be? We are talking about people here, keeping people at arm's length. So it's about trusting yourself enough to go, I don't think that is going to be right for me. I don't think that I want to get involved, or I don't think that I want to go any further, right? And we start to back off just a little bit. So some tips for what to do with this holding back from engaging with people. In situation number 1, we have avoidant attachment style. Like I said, with the avoidant attachment style, a lot of people who have an avoidant characteristics, they aren't even aware that they are keeping people at arm's length. They've never been groomed to allow people in. It is part of their makeup. It's how they function in the world. So for them to, unless they get to that point where they are wanting to have connected relationships and are wanting to do the work because of the strife that they have in their relationships, then they start to open up to the awareness of how their avoidant characteristics throws off their relationships. So once they have that awareness, they can start doing the healing and then start taking baby steps to change the neural pathways to allowing people to get close to them, because that's what an avoidant is all about. It's all about compartmentalizing, self-containing, their independence, and never having to rely on another person, because early conditioning has taught them that you take care of your own. Other people are not reliable to take care of your feelings and emotions, and that's not a blame thing. It's just early developmental and conditioning. So when somebody with avoidant tendencies does want to start that healing process, the healing process starts with having the awareness of what those characteristics are, and then finding one person that you can connect with to open up and build a relationship of trust. And it happens in baby steps. These are new skills that are being learned, right? So it's baby steps. So that would be a suggestion for allowing more love into your life and more connection into your life. The second scenario, where it's uncertainty about, am I ready to do this? How do I do this? Is this the right person? Like, how do you navigate those waters? Because there is that little bit of uncertainty as you just start getting back into wanting to have a connection with another person. So with that one, my suggestion for that one is take your time in becoming comfortable with one person. Just allow whatever the situation, whatever that connection is, just allow it to grow at a pace that's comfortable for you. In a recent live coaching that I did in my private coaching group, one thing I said was, we need other people to help us on our healing path. We can't do the healing in isolation like a hermit. For a while we can, but eventually other people come into our lives to help us on that healing path. And if we want to have connected relationships, we have to allow ourselves to be open and to be vulnerable again, and to trust ourselves, and to take care of ourselves, to make sure that we stay balanced within ourselves. And sometimes that's a scary thing too. We get to that place of balance after healing. Now all of a sudden we are ready to get out there again, and somebody new is going to shake up our world again, and we become off balance as well, right? So there's that whole dynamic as well. So my suggestion for if you fall into that category is allow yourself that smooth transition, that smooth flow. Do what feels good for you, do what feels right for you. There is no pressure. The right person is going to wait for you. The right person is going to have patience with you. And open and honest communication about where you're at is so important. Open, honest communication of where you're at and what's going on is so important, regardless of what the situation is. Communication is key in all areas of our lives. Okay, so the third situation with regards to trust, where you're standing back, you're observing a situation, you're observing a person, you're wondering, do I trust that person? Am I going to move forward? Can I trust them with my heart? Can I trust them to be there for me? Those are really, really important questions to ask yourself, because if there are red flags and alarms and bells and whistles and, standing straight up, and you're still engaging in a relationship, in whatever capacity that relationship is, if there has been a reason not to trust, I think it's very valid that you do take a step back and see the situation from a wider lens, and then go and ask yourself, do I trust myself enough to make the right decision here, and to not let fear get in the way of the decision that you make? Because if there is a severe red flag, it is always a good idea to remove yourself from the situation. But so many people stay in that situation in hopes that it'll turn out differently. And, there's a lot of caution there. Red flags, our intuition is there as our inner, guidance system. If you're following a road and the GPS says, at the end of this road, there's a cliff, and you ignore it, well, guess what? You're going to drive off that cliff, right? So our internal guidance system, our intuition, when it comes to trusting ourselves, and as it relates to looking at a person and going like, do I trust this person? Do I trust this person enough to move forward? Or are the red flags, they're all standing straight up? Is it time for me to walk away in spite of how I might be heartbroken? We can suffer a little bit of heartbreak, but it's better to heal from that heartbreak of decisions that we make for ourselves that are true and right for us, rather than suffer the trauma of moving forward in a situation where we're already untrusting of the situation and the person, right? So that in that situation, it really has to do with trusting yourself, right? If you're not trusting of another person, you need to be able to trust yourself to make the decision that is best and right for you. I hope that you have enjoyed this video. I hope it has been helpful for you. Please comment and like and share and subscribe. And if you're interested, I do have a private Facebook group where it's called Heal Your Love Wounds with Iris. And every week I do coaching in that group on Sunday mornings at 10 o'clock Pacific time. Feel free to join the group if you're interested in learning more. Our unit right now happens to be on attachment type. So it falls right in alignment with our first situation. I will leave that link below this video so that you can join that group as well. And until I see you again, I'm wishing you all the best and sending you so much love.